Welcome to this week's edition of the Fordham Roundup, and we're talking with the women's soccer team and head coach Jess Clinton. Jess, 3 games into conference play. What's the assessment so far with 3 tightly contested one-goal contests on the ledger?
We're getting closer, that's for sure. We are getting closer. We thought we played well against St. Bonaventure. GW was a tough outing. Richmond, we thought we could have pulled it off. We just didn't. So we feel like we're getting closer. We feel like our play is getting better, and I think we're at the place where we need to be right now.
League-wide, 20-plus games into conference play. The vast majority of these games are one-goal games that are coming down to the nitty-gritty. How kind of nerve-wracking that is as a coach that, again, it's really any game could be that swing game and any goal could be that swing goal.
I mean, that's the story of the A10, isn't it? It's to me, it's the strangest conference, how you could be 7-8 and you can turn out to be the conference tournament winner. I think it's a tough conference, and I think even if you're 14 in the conference, you still have an opportunity to be number 7 or number 8. It's just odd.
This weekend, speaking of odd, the quirks in the schedule, you're playing 2 teams this week that you haven't seen in a few years, in George Mason and VCU. What type of preparation do you do for teams like that you haven't seen in a couple years? Their rosters obviously have done a lot of changes, as is your roster, as they prepare for you.
I think that's the fun part, is we haven't seen George Mason and VCU, I think, since 2016 maybe. And so it's been a few years, and that is the fun part, is you might not see these teams, and it's a whole new experience. None of our players know what VCU and Mason is about, and it's a fresh start for them.
Well, best of luck this weekend. 2 games, first game here at home. It's got to be a nice feeling to actually have a home game. I know you haven't had many of them so far, but you look forward to a home game?
Always. Even though I set up the schedule to be always away, it is nice to be home.
Well, best of luck at home on Thursday night.
Thanks so much.
We continue our roundup with junior Kriya Baker-Durante. Kriya, so far 3 games into conference play, all one-goal games, all very tightly contested contests. How would you assess kind of how the team is feeling after the first 3 games of conference play?
Obviously, it's disappointing not being able to get the wins on the road, but as the season's progressed, we've gotten better and better each game. We haven't really had a game where we've plateaued, so it's exciting to see the team playing so well, and I think the goals are coming. We've got a goal against St. Bonnie's, we got a goal against GW, and I think with those goals, we're gonna have the floodgates open eventually, and I think I'm very excited for this weekend and this Thursday and Sunday to have another 2 games under our belt.
For yourself, again, you missed all of last year, and you've slowly worked your way back in, a couple goals this season. What has that process been coming back and, again, coming off the bench a lot of the time and playing those flex minutes late in the first half or late in the second half?
It was definitely a challenge last year, not being able to play, just watching the team and having to kind of sit on the sidelines, but I think that motivated me even more to be ready and prepared for this season. And obviously I am coming off the bench, and I'm trying to be as influential and efficient on the field as I possibly can. And I think being able to get some goals under my belt this year feels really great, and I just hope that I can progress as the season goes on.
This week in conference play, you're playing 2 opponents that the team has not seen in a while. In George Mason and VCU, the team has not played either team since 2016. What is the team doing in preparation for those 2 games? Because it's teams you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Even though they're teams we haven't seen in a while, the A10 is always a really competitive conference. I don't think any team is to be overlooked, especially George Mason when they had a really great run in tournament last year, and I also believe VCU did very well last year as well. So they're teams to not overlook. They're teams that we need to play just as hard as any other game. It's basically the A10 conference final is how we look at every single game. So I think playing these teams for the first time in a while just kind of gives us a fire under our butts to really show them what we're like, because we haven't played them for about 3 years. So we really want to show them that we're here to stay and that we're going to go and put a lot of goals in the back of the net.
All right, thanks so much for joining us, Kriya.
Thank you.